But has the research been done for the right type of signals? While we are looking for answers inside the framework of our old paradigm, civilizations may be several million years ahead of us in technological sophistication, may not transmit our type of radio signals at all. The most commonly used argument against interstellar travel is the fact that even our closest neighboring stars are several light years away. We have to move 20, 30 or maybe 50 light years out to find a substantial number of stars where life may be possible. With such distances and the speed of light as a limit, the thought of being visited from outside has seemed impossible. But new developments in physics have redefined Einstein's relativity theory and opened for a new view on this question.
According to hydraulic mechanics, there is no problem with space travel and not even with time travel. The equations and the physical models, concepts and relations for explaining this has been clear for more than 10 years in advanced hydraulic mechanics.
So if there are civilizations thousands or millions of years ahead of us, distances within 100 light years may not be a big obstacle. And is this why mysterious unidentified flying objects have been reported all over the globe through centuries?
What really made the UFO phenomenon known to the public was what happened here in Washington in the summer of 1952, when a series of UFO observations were made during a period of 2 weeks.
Objects were traced on radar flying 1,000 miles per hour, and they suddenly executed a 90-degree turn and other maneuvers that no aircraft could do even today.
Military pilots were launched to chase these objects. They got close enough to them to see they were round balls of light or oval balls of light, but they could not catch them.
It forced the Air Force to have a press conference on this. What is going on? And during the press conference, the General Samford, who was in charge of Air Force intelligence, basically argued that as far as he was concerned, it was all natural phenomena and then there wasn't anything to worry about. So the press, being satisfied with that, publicized, it was all weather and temperature inversions and weather phenomena that were causing these sightings, and you could forget all about them. A Navy officer who was working in the in Air Force intelligence told an FBI person that several percent of the sightings could not be explained, and that the top Air Force people, some of them were seriously considering interplanetary ships as the explanation.
The pilot Kenneth Arnold had already in 1947 introduced the name flying saucers when he claimed to have come upon a formation of 9 unusual saucer-like objects near Mount Rainier in the state of Washington in June that year. Before this, pilots of World War II bombers had named them Foo Fighters. These smaller discs were frequently seen as rapid lights crossing over German, Japanese and Allied territories, sometimes right next to the aircraft, as if monitoring their operations. On the night of February 24, 1942, only 3 months after the attack on Pearl Harbor, several unidentified objects were picked up on radar over the city of Los Angeles. It was believed to be another Japanese attack and resulted in an intense searchlight activity and heavy artillery fire.
Anti-aircraft guns wanted to action against unidentified aircraft in the Los Angeles area.
But the presumed enemy never fought back, and suddenly the objects disappeared without trace. During the 50s, flying saucers were reported repeatedly, also by civil and military pilots.
And I could see that it was a black lenticular form, of silhouette with these blinking lights all over the surface. And it was at least twice the size of a 747, like 2 Boeing 747 airliners nose to tail. And it's between me and Indianapolis, so I rolled around and tried to get on its tail and behind it, and it turned about 30-degree angles to the north and headed straight for Chicago, and then went over the horizon like that and disappeared. There's no airplane can go that fast.
And over the entrance to Pearl Harbor area, it's the entrance there with either 9, I said 9 discs originally, so I'm going to keep it that way, with 9 discs, white, perfectly white. And they were doing all kinds of different formations. A V, opposite L, reversed L, different types. We watched them for about 15 minutes. Then finally, they're off, it's gone.
In 1952, orders were issued to military pilots in the United States. Shoot them down, flying saucers, if they don't land when instructed to do so. They have the newspaper articles proving that. Matter of fact, the head of the American Rocket Society wrote a letter to President Truman saying he didn't think that was a good idea. Not a good way to welcome anybody coming here.
The American jet fighter pilot Milton Torres, stationed at the Manson RAF base in Britain, was on May 20th, 1957, ordered to go after and shoot down a large UFO spotted on radar hovering over Ipswich. This enormous object, the size of an aircraft carrier, disappeared into the sky at the very instant he was to launch his rockets.
I was thinking that if I fired this thing that he may vaporize me. I didn't know what it was, but I knew it was not of this earth. It was not a man-made object. This was something that was... They could stop. They could absolutely stand still, and they could go Mach 10 or more at any time. And a human being would be splashed up against the sidewall from the forces of just the momentum forces. That would destroy you. So it was nothing that we humans know anything about.
But many, many pilots in military planes who were ordered to go after and shoot down discs, they either disappeared or their planes crashed. This is another underbelly of this whole phenomenon. And before he died, Len Stringfield, who was the very first on the planet who had the courage to start publicly reporting that not only were there beautiful lights in the sky that moved in erratic patterns, but they were clearly involved with crash retrieval stories that were coming to him from military people who would not go on the record, that we were retrieving bodies, we were retrieving technology. And Len Stringfield said, "Linda, I know firsthand that our government had a standing policy to take these discs down out of the sky until we had lost so many pilots that order was rescinded around 1953 to 54.
Books were now appearing on UFOs, with pictures of saucers and cigar-shaped craft on close range, even with people claiming to have met the visitors in person. And soon the entertainment industry also joined the saucer wave. This somehow influenced on the image of the UFO issue, giving skeptics further reason for ridicule of the phenomenon.
On July 1947, a major incident occurred near Roswell, New Mexico, the place where the U.S. manufactured and stored its newly developed nuclear weapons. A flying saucer is reported to have crashed.
The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection.
The incident is revealed in the local newspaper, but withdrawn the day after. Weather balloons is the official explanation. Today, several military and civil eyewitness testimonials have surfaced concerning both the crash itself and the crash retrieval operations, indicating that it most probably was a vehicle of unknown origin.
Apollo astronaut Dr. Edgar Mitchell, who was the 6th man to walk on the moon and also grew up as a Roswell resident, has recently gone public with his view on this controversial incident.
I grew up in Roswell, New Mexico, which was the site of presumed alien crash in 1947, and which, from what I call the testimony of the old-timers who were there and who had been hushed up by government authority, military authority, almost on pain of death,